Jagaradev, Jam Masters. So we're moving into the holiday seasons. Mostly we're moving into New Year's. I told you, you come out here, when we're heading to New Year's, he talks about what are you doing with your life. You spun around the sun one more time. What happened? What did you achieve inside? What do you know more than you knew about yourself, about others? But since we sang about love, let's talk about love. When my heart opens up, when my mind opens up, I feel love. Everybody likes love. There's a country song that says, you're looking for love in all the wrong places. Love is an inner experience. There's no question about it. No matter how much you love somebody, how do you know you love them? Because you feel something inside. When you tell somebody, I love you, if they do something you don't like, you don't love them anymore. Why? Because your heart closes. When somebody behaves in an unexpected way, and you're open, you like what they're saying, you feel amenable to it, your heart will open. You feel it open. You feel it close. When it closes, it's like a heavy rock. It's dark in there. When it's open, it's light. It's open. It's joyous. So love is an open heart. Not love is a closed heart. It really has nothing to do with somebody else or something else, except that something else can be a stimulus that opens your heart, that helps you open your heart. So we run around looking for somebody or something that will open our heart, that will make us feel good, that will raise our energy, that will make us feel whatever. Let's just say, will make us feel good inside. If it makes us feel good inside, we like it. If it makes us feel bad inside, we don't like it. It's very simple, very logical. The problem is that our logic leads you to a lot of trouble, because it basically says that unless I get what I want, I'm not going to feel good inside. And if I get what I don't want, I'm going to feel bad inside. So the logic of that is basically saying you're not going to be happy a lot of times, because the world's not going to unfold. People are not going to unfold the way you want. The world's not going to unfold the way you want. The weather's not going to be the way you want. The car in front of you is not going to be the way you want. All kinds of things are not going to be the way you want. So what's going to happen is you'll only feel joy and love and real upliftment, inspiration, total, I call it Shakti, total energy, upliftment of energy, if you're getting what you want. And so what the logical mind says is, okay, if the only time I'm really happy is when I'm getting what I want, I better spend my life trying to get what I want. And if the times I'm not well, I'm depressed, I'm low, I just feel terrible, is because things happen the way I didn't want, so I now have a job, the meaning of my life. Make the world in front of me unfold in a way that makes me feel good inside, in other words, get what I want, and make sure that the world doesn't unfold in front of me, the moments in front of me, that make me feel bad. So that's your job. Your job is to go out there, manipulate, control, and do everything you can to try and make people, places, things, events, weather, cars in front of you, every single thing, be the way that when you experience them, they make you feel better, and not be the way that when you experience them make you feel worse. It sounds so logical, but the truth of the matter is it's totally illogical. Why? You have to go a little deeper. Buddhists say, work at the root. So there you are out there doing that, trying to control everything so that when it comes in through your senses, it makes you feel better and doesn't make you feel worse. We've discussed this before. What's wrong with that? Nothing. There's nothing wrong with that. Except if you analyze it openly, wisely, what you'll see is, okay, how did I decide what I want? How did I decide how I want the world to be? How did I decide what will make me happy? How do I decide what kind of person will make me feel love? How do I decide what makes me not feel good? How do I decide how a person who I loved yesterday, I might not love today because of something they said or did or wore or something I heard about them? How did I decide what is going to make me open and what's going to make me close? And now you turn to psychology. That's what they're studying. They're studying why you do these things, why it's like this. So they say something, I won't say totally wise, but very wise, which is, man is the sum of his learned experiences. I'll tell you why it's not totally wise in a minute. But it is true that your psyche, your thought patterns, your emotion patterns are the sum of your learned experiences. You need to step back enough to see that. If you hear something about somebody, when you go to meet them, you will feel a certain way. You will feel open or closed based on what you heard. That is the sum of your learned experiences. If you love somebody and they disappoint you, they didn't act the way you think they should, then you don't feel as much openness toward them. Again, an experience happened, and it made you feel a certain way. So you stored throughout your life all the experiences that made you feel good, and there weren't that many. All the experiences that made you feel good, your high moments, all right? What you want is for those to happen again. That is the sum of your learned experiences. It's programming your psyche, your mind, and your heart. Likewise, a lot of things have happened in your life that weren't so comfortable, that were disappointing, that were painful, that were unexpected, that were what you didn't like. It didn't like when it came in. Freud taught you, and he's right, that you stored those. You suppressed those. You repressed those. I say you resisted them. You didn't want to experience them when they came in, so you pushed them away. Why should I experience something that makes me feel bad? I don't want to. But it happened. I don't care. I don't care if it happened. I don't have to experience it. I can put buffers inside of me. I can use will to manipulate it, to push it away, rationalize, anything you want. I don't want to fully feel the impact that something has happened outside that makes me not feel good inside. Some of your learned experiences. So now you're programming yourself by storing your bad experiences, storing your good experiences, and therefore you come up with this concept or view or opinion and preference that says, this is the way the moments in front of me have to unfold for me to be okay. And this is the way they're not supposed to be. You did not decide those things. They were experiences you had that you stored, and they programmed your psyche. They programmed your mind and your heart. I don't think anybody can argue with that. And like I said, the ultimate proof is I'm madly in love with her. I met her. She's the perfect person for me. Did you know that she killed her parents? Oh, I don't like her at all. Some of your learned experiences. This is the stuff that got programmed in there, and it literally changes all the time. So that's one part of the equation. Like I said, what you're doing is saying, I'm going to spend my life trying to get the moments in front of me to unfold in a way that matches what I want and doesn't match what I don't want. Fine. Now, we've just talked about where you got what you want. If you're the biggest activist, and you like hearing this, the biggest activist that ever lived for this cause, you're marching, you've got these placards, you're screaming, yelling, carrying on. If you had had different experiences, you'd be on the other side. If somehow you had in your life, your father, your mother, your sister, your brother, whatever it is, went through different things, and the experience was different, I guarantee you'd be thinking differently and acting differently. Okay? Some of your learned experiences. So that's where your likes and dislikes come from. That's where your preferences come from. You weren't born with them. There's a sum of your learned experiences going all the way back to Blanky and Mommy and Daddy, and Freud said, always your mother, right? So basically you have this stuff programmed inside. Now, I do this with you all the time because I'm dying to see once light come in your eyes to understand what I'm saying. So that is what you're bringing into the moment. You're bringing the sum of your learned experiences. You have the right to do that. They are the sum of your learned experiences. Okay? I always stop for a moment and say, how important are those experiences in reality? How many experiences were going on the earth at the same time you were having that experience? 700 million zillion. In other words, you missed every other experience, and you had this experience, but you admitted to me that if you had different experiences, you'd be bringing something different into the moment. Okay? Statistically, 1 out of 700 billion is statistically insignificant. So the experience you had that you just brought in as data into your inner computer is meaningless. In the realm of reality, if you look to the left, you had a different one. So your programming that got put into your psyche, I know you don't like hearing it, is completely meaningless. It means nothing. I'm not trying to get you depressed. If you want to say to me, it's all I got, fine, you got nothing. 0 times 0 times 0 times 0. Every single moment you have, there are 700 billion things going on in Einstein's time-space continuum in every spot on the planet Earth that's different than what you're experiencing. Therefore, what's so special about your experience? Nothing. But I read a book on the subject. How many books didn't you read? And what mood were you in when you read the book? The previous books gave you a predisposition, right, about how you're going to interpret that book. Just understand what is going on in your mind is nothing compared to what is going on. Fair enough? And that's just the planet Earth. You know, I can't help myself. 1.3 million Earths fit inside the sun. And you're going to make a beat out of the spot on the planet Earth that is absolutely 1 out of 7 billion spots, each moment different. And the Earth itself, 1.3 million fit inside the sun, and there's 300 billion stars in your galaxy, and there's 2 trillion galaxies. Now, how much do you know? And how important it is what you think you know. There, that's the humility that it takes to wake up. All right? So fine, I'll give you that. You brought that into this moment. What did I bring? What I want and what I don't want. What will make me happy? I'm not stupid. It made me happy before, it made me happy again. Bother me before, bother me again. So I need to do what? I need to make the moment unfolding in front of me match what I want. And I need to make sure it doesn't match what I don't want. And I'm going to use all my will. Okay? Now you want to know why there's stress and anxiety? You ready? Okay? Watch. I do this with you. I do it every time. But don't get bored by it, because once you'll get it. There's a moment unfolding in front of you. When? Always. There's always a moment unfolding in front of you. What does that moment in front of you have to do with the sum of your learned experiences? I'm not asking you to be scientists. How about nothing? You know what that moment is? The sum of its learned experiences. It's called cause and effect. There are causes that have happened from the beginning of time that have coalesced together to create every moment as it exists right now. Are there not? That's what science studies. They pull one cause out, see what happened. Okay? So those causes have a history. Not your history. You have a history of the sum of your own experiences. It has the history of reality behind it, doesn't it? What is the probability that that moment in front of you is going to match what's going on inside of you? It's the sum of its learned experiences. The science not say the reason it's raining right now is because of El Nino and La Nina and blah, 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 blah. But you say, why does it have to rain on my weekend or my birthday? It doesn't know it's your birthday. It doesn't know anything like that. So a wise person, a really wise, deep person, says, okay, I am looking at the sum of my learned experiences. That moment in front of me doesn't even know a thing about them. It's the sum of its learned experiences. In the new book, I tell you, is one of my favorite parts of Living Untethered. It says, if your great-great-great-grandmother didn't meet your great-great-great-grandfather, you're not here. And all the rest of the things that happened during that time determined everything else. So you're bringing the sum of your learned experiences into a moment that is the sum of its learned experiences. That's what I want to see. Do you get it? Okay. What is the probability they're going to match? Pretty close to 0. What is the probability you're going to make them match? Pretty close to 0. You think you have control. You're trying to go up against science. You're going up against reality. Does that mean that I can't learn from reality and help the future? No, it does not mean that's what you're supposed to be doing. But it does mean that if you bring your preferences into the moment and then try to manipulate the moment to match your preferences, you're going to create war. That's total disharmony. That's why things are the way they are, because everybody's doing that. What is the probability that the sum of her learned experiences is close to the sum of her learned experiences? 0. Everybody had different experiences. Every moment you have different experiences. You don't understand how different we are inside. You think we look different outside? We are 7 billion times more different inside. Because we've all had different experiences. And we've all interpreted them based on our past experiences. Even the experience you're having is warped by your past experiences. Okay, it's called waking up. So you're waking up and you realize this is what's going on. I have this preference system. I inherited a program inside of me. It does not match the world. That's why you have anxiety. But your anxiety, I might not get what I want. Oh, that'll make you anxious. I might get what I don't want. That'll make you anxious. And you wonder why there's so much anxiety. There's nothing but anxiety. And why is there disappointment? It's not the way I wanted. You want to know why it's not the way you want? Because it's not supposed to be. The starting position is science. People say that science and spirituality are at odds. They are not at odds. The science is the foundation of spirituality. The problem that's at odds is you won't accept reality. You think it's supposed to be the way you made up. You made up in your mind how everyone's supposed to be and what's supposed to happen and all that kind of stuff. That's definitely at odds with spirituality. But science is not at odds with spirituality. Science says, I'm studying cause and effect. I'm trying to see why things are the way they are, not why they're not the way I want them to be. Scientists get in big trouble when they do experiments and they mess with them to make them be what they want them to be. That's not the scientific method, is it? Okay? Well, you're doing the same thing. You're sitting there saying, because it makes me happy, if it's this way, it's supposed to be that way. Look at me. No, it's not. For the moment, it's supposed to be reality. It is what it is because of all the forces that made it be that way. And you were such a small amount of that. I tell you, things like, okay, you're standing there and someone's yelling at you. Nobody likes that. Standing there, somebody's yelling at you. If you really go deep, you'll understand they're not yelling at you. Things have happened in their life that have caused them to need to yell. And you happen to be standing there at that moment. If the moment before you met them, their most loved person in the world that they wanted to marry said yes, they would not be yelling at you. If everything else was beautiful, you did it perfectly, and you turned it into your boss, and both of his parents died an hour ago, you're probably going to get yelled at. It's probably not good enough. It's not yelling at you. It's the fact that yelling needed to take place, and you happen to be standing in the place where yelling was taking place. Do you hear me? Can anybody hear me? That's what it means to look at reality. You think you're the cause. You're not the cause. You're one factor being put into a moment that's got 7 billion causes. But because you're so caught in yourself, we'll talk about that. That's what the whole talk's going to be about. Because you're so married to what is going on in your psyche. What I want, what I don't want, who I am, do people like me? Understand that? It's a preference. People like you. All right? That is so silly. Go to Mars and look at the planet Earth that looks like a star and start getting uptight whether people like you or accept you or think you're pretty, you're handsome. It's absolutely meaningless. Why do you care about that? Because if I'm accepted, people will like me, they'll say nice things to me, then I can feel good. If I'm not accepted, I'll get rejected. People won't accept me, they won't like me, I'll feel bad. You understand it? It all comes down to how are you doing inside? And the answer is not very well. And therefore I need things to happen outside that make me feel better. Can you relate to that? And I make sure that things don't happen outside that make me feel worse. That becomes the meaning of your life. You spend your whole life doing that. And I've just showed you that's weird because the moments out there have nothing to do with you. They have to do with themselves, have to do with some of their own experiences. So if you pit some of your learned experiences against reality, you lose. Reality always wins. How do I know? Let's say you do something and it really is painful to me. And I say, take it back. Do you understand? There's no taking it back. It happened. It came in. You can decide, I forgive you. But deep inside, it happened. And it hurts you. And if you say, I forgive you, that's nice. But the reality is, what did you forgive? The fact that I didn't like it. I didn't like what you did. So you're really forgiving yourself to say, okay, even though it's not what I liked, I'll let it go. I won't make a big deal out of it. But you don't let it go. You can't. Really, in reality, go get married. Don't do this. And tell the person you married, I'm not sure I did the right thing marrying you. Sometimes I feel I love you, but I'll be honest with you, a lot of times, I think I made a mistake. Right. All right. Then the next day, tell her or him, you're sorry. Don't you dare think that erased that. That did not erase that. They're going to constantly be afraid it'll happen again. They're going to try to figure out what they did wrong. Wake up. You just understand the problem is that you are married to your preference system. Your consciousness is completely involved in the programming of the sum of your learned experiences. You even walk around saying, if I say, who are you? I'm the one who played Dorothy in 5th grade. I'm the one who married Saul. I'm the one who runs this business. Really? So if you didn't play Dorothy, you don't exist. You didn't marry Saul, you don't exist. If you didn't run this business, you don't exist. You're defining yourself as the experiences you had. Listen to me once. You are not the experiences you had. You're the one who experienced the experiences you had, aren't you? You're inside the awareness of being that is aware that those experiences took place. I put them together into my self-concept. Who did? Who did? You did. You're conscious in there. Do you have will? Can you push away thoughts? Can you push away emotions? Can you think thoughts that you want to think? That's called free will. Who's doing that? You are. I don't want to define it. You're in there, aren't you? That's all I want to know. Are you in there? Were you in there yesterday? How do you know? If you come to me, I told you I would never be a therapist. I will never do one-on-one because you don't want me to. You come to me, oh, my heart is broken. It feels like it's being ripped apart. I just can't get anything together. It's terrible. I'll let you say that for a minute or two, right? And then I'll say, excuse me, how do you know? How do you know that your heart feels like that? Well, I don't know your heart feels like that. He doesn't know. She doesn't know anything about it. How do you know? And eventually you'll yell at me because I'm in here and I feel it. That is pure spirituality. You just answered the deepest question that could ever be answered. Who's in there feeling what? That's subject-object. There's a thing you're feeling. We call it an object of consciousness versus the consciousness itself. Awareness is aware that there is a breaking heart. Awareness is aware that your mind is bothering you. You sit down to meditate. I don't teach meditation. You know I don't. That doesn't mean you shouldn't meditate. There are plenty of people who teach you meditation. I want to teach you deeper than that. If you sit down to meditate and you come and sit there, I can't. I've tried. I can't meditate. What do you mean? I sit down and the mind just doesn't stop. It just talks and talks and talks about everything. Ready? How do you know? I tell you, that's the essence of spirituality. It's not weird. How do you know your mind didn't shut up? You don't know that during the day you're just running around like a maniac, right? But if you sit down and try to stop the mind, you're going to find out you can't. That's good. That's a deep meditation. It's perfectly good meditation to me. See, as I don't teach meditation, they throw me out. That's a very good meditation. You notice that your mind doesn't shut up. That's very deep. Who notices? Who's in there? What is consciousness? So you have consciousness and object of consciousness. Your consciousness is completely addicted to your thought patterns. It's addicted to the sum of your learned experiences. You think you're right. If that outside moment a person does something that doesn't match what you want, you say they're wrong. You were wrong to do that. That's wrong. I can't believe you did that. In other words, the sum of my learned experiences is looking out at that moment, which has nothing to do with some of my learned experiences. It is the sum of its learned experiences, and I'm saying it's wrong. There, does anybody hear me? This is what it means to get to the root of things. So eventually you wake up and you say, boy, am I lost in myself. All of my consciousness is absorbed in me. My house, my car, my wife, my children, my thoughts, my beliefs, my hopes, my dreams, my God, my religion, my me, I, me, mine, I, me, mine, I, me, mine. Your consciousness is lost, addicted to your psyche. Is there anything other than your psyche? So let's be nice to scientists for a minute. You don't always use your mind to think about yourself. That's called the personal mind, the mind that is programmed to be about me. Like if you're studying science, anything, all of it, engineering, science, anything, right? You're not studying the sum of your own experiences. You're transcending your personal self in order to study the outside world, to study reality, to study whatever you're studying. That's called the intellectual mind, the abstract mind, the impersonal mind. You got one. If you're using that mind, that is not the sum of your learned experiences. You can use your knowledge. There's wisdom that goes in there, right? I'm talking about the personal mind, about what you like and what you dislike. That's the problem. And that's the essence of spirituality, is we are lost in our likes and dislikes. And we believe that the only way we're going to be okay is to get everything to be the way we like. I need to find a job that gives me passion. No. Find out why you don't feel passion all the time. You sit on a little tiny planet, spinning around in the middle of nowheres. We haven't found anything on any other planet. You won the lottery 600 billion times over. Go to Mars. Sit around on Mars for a while. How you doing? I told you. I know it's going to happen on Mars. If a roach ran across the sand in front of you, you would chase it. But not to kill it, to make friends. Because there's nothing else there. Is that what your life's like here? Every moment of your life, there's colors and shapes and forms and things to do. It's unbelievable. But it isn't what you want. Therefore you complain. It doesn't match the sum of your learned experiences. So waking up means to notice this. That's called witness consciousness. You notice it's really true. I'm just watching me. I don't want it to rain tomorrow. That's a really brilliant statement. Of what meaning is it that you don't want it to rain tomorrow? It's absurd. I don't want the car in front of me to be driving the way they are. I don't want all kinds of stuff. Or I want all kinds of stuff. I want to meet somebody. I like when you fill out those forms on your dating sites. I want to meet somebody who's 5'6.5". No, 5'6". No, it's 5'6". All right, that has this color hair and behaves this way and likes this kind. Like dog? No, likes this kind of dog. Right? Put that all down there. What are you doing? You're describing yourself. You're describing what you like and what you don't like. And you're saying that's what you want to have a relationship with. Then go home and have fun with yourself. Because it has nothing to do with anybody else. And if they tell you I match that perfect, it's just like the picture they put on there that was 30 years old. Or of somebody else. They do that, It's like they're lying to you. Oh, you're exactly everything I ever wanted. No, not a chance. What they're doing is projecting what they want onto you. Wait till you see what happens. Don't be silly. There's no way somebody matches you. But isn't it true that when you fill those things out, you're describing you? Take a breath. No wonder it's so hard. It isn't hard to live on the planet Earth. You drop down on the most amazing... I don't even know I can't even talk about it. We've been everywhere. We've landed on all the different planets and their moons. And we got Voyager way out there. We ain't seen squat. Not an amino acid. Not a protozoa. Nothing. And you're here with all of this. And all you do is complain. Why? Because it's not the way you want. It's not going to be the way you want. It's not supposed to be the way you want. You should wake up in the morning and say, wow, it's still here. It's like, I have something to do. I have something to study, something to go to work. I have things to do, right? Most of you go to work in order to earn money. If they didn't pay you, you wouldn't go. Why do you want to earn money? So that you can have a weekend or a vacation that you go someplace you want. What happened to the rest of your life? Well, I can't get everything the way I want, so at least I can get a weekend in Hawaii or something like that the way I want. No. You wake up and you say, the problem is not that I'm not getting what I want. The problem is that I'm defining the way the world is supposed to be. It obviously isn't that way. Why don't I check that out? What if you love the rain? What if you love the not rain? What if you love the cold? What if you love the heat? What if you love the wind? What if you love storms? What if you love balmy, clear days? What if every single weather condition, when you looked at it, your heart opened, you said, oh boy, this is going to be far out. Look how hard it's raining. Oh my, look, it's hot. I wonder how hot it's going to get. Oh my God, 112. How cold is it? Oh my God, maybe it will snow. That's what the Bible means. It says, lest ye be as little children. It means you're innocent. It means everything's exciting. You give a kid a rock and a stick to play with for 15 hours, all right, instead of the computer you bought them, okay? You can be like that. You can wake up and be excited that you woke up. I told you once, I don't have the number exactly right, I don't know if anybody does, but there's something like 25 trillion living cells that make up your body. They talk to each other. They interact with each other. The liver cells create a liver. There isn't a liver. There's individual cells that are communicating, and that goes for every organ, that goes for all your skin, that goes for everything. You didn't do that. When's that time you said thank you? When's that time you looked at this thing and said, wow, thanks. Thanks, liver cells. Thanks, kidney cells. Thanks, everything. Right? If one cell goes awry, they call it cancer. And there's 25 trillion behaving. One of the greatest wake-up moments I had was when a doctor explained to me there was something called, I won't get it right pronounced, but apoptosis. Something like that. Apoptosis. What is that? If a cell that is part of an organ is not behaving as well as the cell next to it, wasn't functioning as well, it willingly drops out of the system, commits suicide to leave room for a healthier cell. Maybe you want to say thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. And that's just your body. What about weather? Okay? Now it's raining. What is rain? It's watering the forest that you don't have to take a pail and go do. It's like, it's unbelievable what's going on. And you're paying no attention to it. You're only paying attention to what you want. Everything else is a given. There's so much that science helps you with your spirituality. Like, when I step on the floor, I don't fall through. Did you know that? How about you? When you step on it, does it hold you? How does that happen? I mean, do you understand? There's nothing but space down there. The atoms are way far apart. You studied the comparison to the planets orbiting the sun, way further apart. It's nothing but hollow. So why don't I fall through? Just little things I like to share with you to wake your mind up. This is your intellectual mind instead of your personal mind. You don't fall through because all atoms' nuclei are surrounded by electrons, and electrons are negatively charged. So every single atom you deal with in all of creation has a negative shell outside of it. What happens if two negative poles of a magnet come close to each other? They repel. That's why you don't fall through the floor. Your foot is made of atoms. The floor is made of atoms. They're repelling each other. Isn't that neat to use your mind for that? And now you say thank you to the atoms. You thank you to creation. How come if I step on the earth, why doesn't it go down? If all these are being passed down. Because there's a centrifugal force in gravity that bounces around. Oh my God, look how dependent you are on all these things. You don't have a life if they're not going on. And you don't even pay attention in one iota. You never say thank you. But if somebody says, you're so beautiful, thank you. There's the difference. Spirituality is not about not using your mind. It's about transcending the personal mind that is full of, I'm not going to use the word. It's meaningless. It's just something that you picked up along the way and you didn't know who you were, so you defined yourself as that. I'm this, I'm a professor, I'm that, I'm this. No, you're not. You're the consciousness that is watching what you stored inside your mind, who put it together into a self-concept, and now you present it out there, and if it's accepted, you like the person, and if it's not accepted, well, that's your enemy. That's what spirituality is trying to wake you up from. Sit there and say, you are not your ego. You are not your thoughts. You're the one who's aware of your thoughts. And so when you wake up, you will go through a layer, and it's good. It's wonderful. Somebody once said to me, somebody used to live out here, he passed many years ago. He was a scientist. He was a very, very, very bright guy and worked with computers, computer science, programming stuff. And he said, I do my mantra, right? That's a spiritual thing to do. I do my mantra all the time. But when I'm programming and I'm doing my work, I get lost in my work. I just completely focused on my work. And then I come back and say, oh, I forgot to do my mantra. Thank God he said that to me. I said, what, are you crazy? When you lose yourself one-pointedly, not in your personal mind, that's why you're doing your mantra. So it takes you out of your personal mind. The mantra is an alternative to, why did she say that? I don't know. I don't think I like that. Maybe I should find out. Oh, no, sure. Oh, no, sure. It's just another layer of mind that you get to go to instead of your personal mind. If you're working, you're an athlete, and you're focusing on your work selflessly. What does that mean? They use the word selflessly, don't they? It means you're not doing it based on your personal mind. I am not doing this act because I want something because I'm not okay. I am doing it because it needs to be done. I'm not doing it for me. That's what selfless means. Selfless doesn't mean I want to do it for me, but I know I'm supposed to, so I'll be selfless. No, that's not selfless. That's suppressing your personal self. You get to a point where you understand this personal part of my mind. It's just like the computer can run recipe systems. It can run accounting. It can run CAD programs. It can do anything. Your mind is a giant, brilliant computer. It can do anything. What Microsoft used to say, where do you want to go today? In other words, it can take you anywhere you want to go. Your mind can too. It can go to Venus. It can go to Mars. It can go to Saturn. It can do anything. It can see we have those pictures of ultra-deep space, the ultra-deep field, the Hubble field, where there's thousands of galaxies. Your mind can go there. Or it can stay right here. Why did he say that? I don't know. I wanted a better job because I don't like this one. I wanted to have a woman boss, and I had a woman boss, but now I have a man boss. Isn't it cute? No. It's nothing but suffering and misery. Okay? So spirituality is about getting out of your personal mind, moving your consciousness off of your personal stuff that is the sum of your learned experiences that is now running your life. Okay? And that's why, by the way, we sang the song, when my mind becomes still, there's a place that I go. In other words, if I'm not getting lost in my personal mind, what is other than my personal mind? You're going to find out that there's a number of places up there. One is pure intellect. Pure intellect is beautiful. Why? Because it's not about you. It's not about your personal self. And so this person that got lost programming, that's wonderful. You should one-pointedly, in the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, which is the deepest yoga teachings, very, very deep, all right, written 500 BC, whatever it is, he says, when the experiencer and the experience become one. That sounds mystical. No, it's not. I'm the experiencer, and I'm having an experience, and I lost myself in it completely. I don't even know where time went. I'm hugging my beloved, and I've melted into the moment. That's meditation. I'm not in my personal mind. If you're hugging your beloved and you're wondering if you're doing it right, it's not so much fun, is it? Did you put the right cologne on, and is it still lasting, or do you smell a little bit? No, that's not going to cut it, right? Now you didn't experience, or is not merged in the experience. The experience is distracted by the personal mind. Are you ever distracted by your personal mind? Let me ask the question better. Are you ever not distracted by your personal mind, right? It gets in the way all the time. There's a difference between a scientist who's studying and learning and experimenting and writing down papers so other people could see what he said versus someone who wants to get published because they want to make more money and they want to go. Oh, that's a whole different ballgame, isn't it? You're not a pure scientist. It's about you. It's personal. Okay? But they all are that way, aren't they? That's what causes all the disharmony that exists on the earth. Everybody's a sum of their own learning experiences, and they're devoting themselves to making the moments be what matches them, and that's totally different for everybody. Okay? Hitler didn't like Jews. Why? I don't want to find out. I guarantee they must have psychoanalyzed that guy books and books and volumes, all right? The truth is, he had a preference in his mind. Something must have happened. He didn't just make it up. Parents, situations, something happened, and he ended up with a mindset like that, right or wrong. And basically, look what happened to the world. Okay? It's happening right now all over the place, isn't it? Even in individual households, people are fighting, people are leaving, divorces are happening. It's the same thing. It's all for the same reason. I'm trying to get it the way I want. Get out of my way. I have the right. You think you have the right to get it the way you want. That makes me laugh so hard. You do. You have the right to try to get it the way you want. See how it works out. See how it works out for everybody else. You understand that? People are stepping on each other to do it, get what they want. I'm going to dress pretty and drive a really neat car and try to impress everybody, or I'm going to get a gun and put it to people's heads. Both are the same. Get what I want. One's more sociable. I told you, if you can be my neighbor, I like the first one, all right? But it's the same thing. I'm just basically saying, I am going to get what I want. There's a state in which you understand that you let go of that. Christ said you die to be reborn. That's what that's talking about. What he basically said was, you ain't going nowheres spiritually while you're lost in yourself. That's what it means. He said, you can't serve two masters. That's what that means. You can't serve yourself and something greater than yourself. It can't work. Don't think of the deep spiritual teachings as a religion. They're not religion. They're just the truth. All right? So the teachings are, can you get your consciousness off of your personal mind? That's what all of spirituality is about. Deep spirituality, all of yoga, all the things. Zen, meditation, everything. Can you get your consciousness? You're in there, you're conscious. Right now you are totally addicted to your personal mind. That's all it thinks about all the time. That's what you care about. If your mind doesn't like something, how's your heart feel? It's just everything's being run off the personal mind. Are you capable of extricating your consciousness from your personal mind? If you do, that's what it means. When my mind becomes still, when you get your consciousness off the personal mind, you're going to find out there is so much love going on inside of you. There's so much inspiration. There's so much joy. There's so much, oh my God. It's just, they want to call it heaven? No, I want to call it you not on your drug. You not on the drug of you. How's that? A heroin addict not on heroin can be a really good person, but not when they're on heroin. You not on you? Wow, man. They're high stuff. You're beautiful. Everybody is. Now, what they ever did doesn't make any difference. They're in there. The consciousness is in there, but it's staring at this personal thing that you collected inside your psyche, inside your heart and mind. You can remove your consciousness. You don't have to get rid of the mind. You just take your consciousness off of it. Learn to put your consciousness elsewhere aside from your personal mind. One way to do that is intellectual. There is 8 branches of yoga. One of them is Gyana yoga. That's not the yoga meditation. That's not the yoga asanas, postures. Gyana yoga is the yoga of intellect. That you can use your mind, not your personal mind. You hear me? You can think. Imagine if you contemplated the fact that you're on a planet and 1.3 million of them fit inside one star. And there's 300 billion stars in your galaxy. Go do that with your mind for a while. That's Gyana yoga. And it was using your intellectual mind, your abstract mind. When you do that, what problems do you have? If you take your mind off of yourself, you just, doesn't mean you don't deal with things, but you don't deal with them because you're not okay with them. I'm okay. I sit on a planet Earth. And there's things going on. There's even wars. You better be okay with it. Why? Because it's true. You think that being okay with it means I want it to happen. No, it is happening. Now, how can you help? When you don't like it and you say, I can't handle it, you can't help. Think of it for a moment. Have you ever said, I can't handle this? What does that mean? It means you can't handle it. Then what use are you? If you can't handle the sight of blood, I don't want you there when I get a car accident. So you get to the point where you realize, I don't have the right to say I can't handle it. I'm here, it happened, I better be able to handle it. I'm of no use to it if I can't handle it. So you learn to handle things. You learn to rise above your personal self. Now I can handle it. How can I help? That's a different question. Not I can't handle it. What do I do about it? In other words, how do I stop it from being this way and make it so I can handle it? When you get higher, clearer, you're sitting there saying, I want to learn to handle things so that I can help. It makes me cry. Don't you want to help? You have to be able to handle it to be able to help. Otherwise, you're doing what you're doing because you can't handle it. You're trying to make it stop. Hey, your child does drugs, gets in trouble. Okay? I can't handle that. I can't handle that. Then you can't help your kid. You'll say things like, how could you do that to me? What are the neighbors going to think? This is terrible. I thought you would be a Harvard grad. How's that going to help the kid? It has to be, okay, this is what's happening. This is reality. This is, okay, this is what happened. How can I help? What a beautiful, different thing that is. Not how can I help me? How can I help the situation? But in order to do that, you have to transcend your personal mind. And that's what spirituality is all about. So it's not about getting rid of your mind. It's not about throwing your mind out. It's about the consciousness removing its addiction to staring at the personal mind. Someday you're going to realize you're staring at the personal mind. If it goes, boo, you go to a party that you were dying to go to, you bought the perfect dress or suit, and you're going there, you get in, and your mind, you don't even know why, all of a sudden goes, I'm not comfortable here. I don't want to stay. You leave. What do you listen to that stupid thing for? It just ruined your evening. I really like this guy. I think he's the perfect man for my God. We've been dating for 3 weeks. It seems so wonderful, right? And then you come home, you're all depressed. What's wrong? We went to a restaurant. He slurps his soup. I don't have a relationship with a soup slurper. It's like, it's ridiculous. You're ruining your life by listening to the sum of your learned experiences. Well, what's wrong with a soup slurper? My Uncle Charles used to slurp soup. Oh, my God. And we didn't like him at all. My sister, we used to make fun of him. No, all right, how about this? My Uncle Charlie slurped soup. He was so much fun. He was the most favorite uncle I ever had. And now this guy I'm going out with, he slurps soup. I love him to pieces. Could happen, couldn't it? The sum of your learned experiences. Don't let that ruin your life. You should be able to handle the experiences they pass through. Okay, fine, I had that experience. That is just a nothing experience. You hear me? It could have been totally different. Do not let yourself get caught in your personal self. Then the question becomes, how? How do I learn to not say, I can't handle this, and instead say, how can I help? How do you make that transition from one to the other? It's easy to explain. It's not easy to do. How did you get those preferences that are so strong? I told you. Events happen in your life, usually bad, right? Or you define them as bad. They came in, they weren't comfortable. They were uncomfortable situations. Anybody ever had uncomfortable situations? All right. They came in, and what did you do with them? What you should have done was said, "Ooh, this tastes terrible," right? And spit it out. It's over, right? But you didn't. You said, "That's terrible what he said. I don't want to experience it." And you pushed it away. That's what Freud talked about. You pushed it away. Where did it go? Oh, it must have dissipated. Mm-hmm. Like the smoke that dissipates in the air with the pollution. As I used to think. There's plenty of air, it'll just dissipate, right? So if I push it away, I don't experience it, it'll be gone. Is it gone? Does it ever come back? It comes back, you know it comes back. You ever dream about it? Does it ever come back again because somebody said something or reminded you of it? You stored it inside of you. You took that which bothered you the most and made a storehouse out of a part of your mind. You shoved it down there. Okay, so basically that's what you use to build your ego. That's the foundation of your psyche. All psychology teaches that, don't they? It's all built upon the stuff you suppressed.
Well, then maybe the answer is stop suppressing stuff. Not find out how to compensate for the fact that you suppressed it. I didn't get along with my sister and this and that and the other thing. You look at my sister, I don't want to be like her. You don't look like my sister, you know nothing like my sister. Oh my God, everybody else reminding me of my sister. You don't, let's get married. You're trying to compensate for what you stored inside of you. So yoga says, don't do that. Don't renounce. It's not about renunciation. Spirituality is not about renunciation. Renunciation says, my preferences show that I will be happy if I do that, but I'm not going to do it. That doesn't sound like much fun. What kind of thing is that? All right? I won't do it in the name of God. Well, then you're not going to really like God very much. No. Spirituality is not about renunciation. It's about looking to see, why do I have these preferences? Why am I limiting my life to myself? Because I suppress that stuff. Then the answer is stop suppressing stuff. That's the answer. The answer is you have a bunch of stuff down there that is determining the whole flow of your life. Where you go, what you do, what you like, whether you're happy, whether you're not, every single thing is based on the sum of your learned experiences. By the way, it's not based on the sum of all your learned experiences. How many of you have a big deal about the white lines that you've driven by during your life on the road? You experienced them. You experienced them, didn't you? You experienced the trees you drive by. You experienced the cars you drive by. They come in. They did not come in. You don't close your eyes. They came in. They entered your psyche, you experienced them, and they passed through. You said, oh, that was a nice tree, but you didn't move to be near that nice tree, all right? When you turn a corner and there's a beautiful sunset, oh my God, it's so beautiful, it blows your mind, it's lavender, all these colors. It knocks you out, doesn't it? It's like, wow, oh my God, it's like a spiritual experience, okay? Do you then buy the house on the corner so you can have it again? You just ruined the experience. You didn't let it be an experience. Believe me, there'll be another one. Another what? There'll be another experience. When? Right after that. There's just one after the other. You're the one that stored that one and said, I won't be happy until I have that one again. So the answer is stop storing this stuff. Doesn't mean you don't remember. You can bring it back, but don't make it what we call a samskara, a pattern that's filled with emotions and likes and dislikes, and you just push it down there, and now it's going to get activated, and you'll feel the likes and dislikes again. Let things happen. Honor them, respect them, learn from them, and let them go. So you're not storing all this stuff inside, all your personal stuff. If you do that, then you're not the sum of your learned experiences. You're the consciousness that's aware of what's left of the sum of your learned experiences. Or if you really let go enough, you're the consciousness itself. That's an enlightened being. Somebody who has found the source and the seat of where consciousness is coming from, because they're not distracted and the consciousness is not being pulled down into the personal stuff. And everyone who ever reached that stage said the same thing. It's ecstatic. There's just the nature of consciousness is ecstasy. It's Satchidananda, eternal conscious joy. That's what Buddha said. That's what Christ said. That's what they all said. All the enlightened masters. Is you are the highest thing that ever walked the face of the earth. But that consciousness is drawn down into your mental and emotional problems all the time. It's distracted by you. You are distracted from the highest state to the lowest state. Okay, I told you where the lowest state came from. You stored it inside of you. I asked you a question. I told you there was a quiz. I said it the other day. There's your quiz. You're in class now. Ready? All right? If you store everything that ever bothered you inside of you, what's it going to be like inside? Bothered. It's going to be bothered. Well, how about we don't do it? That's spirituality. It's not about good and bad and do this and don't do that and wear the right clothes or anything. It's not a religion, the thoughts, beliefs. No, it's not about any of that. It's about stop storing the things that bothered you inside of you, and you won't be bothered as much. How do you do that? I went to that very deeply in the new book, Living Untethered. You don't start with mommy and all this deep psychological stuff or the first divorce. You don't go to that stuff that's hard to let go of. You're not going to be able to. Why? You haven't learned to let go. It's not something that's natural to you. What's natural to you is suppression. What's natural to you is to push it away. I don't like it, I'm pushing it away. But you can learn not to, just like you learn the piano. You don't start with Beethoven, you start with the scales. You learn to play tennis. You don't play against some tennis pro, the Williams sisters or Borg or something. You get a ball thrower or a coach, and you can hit into the net a whole bunch of times. Same thing here. If you want to learn to raise to the highest part of your being, you have to let go of what is causing the lowest part of your being. So there's no reason or purpose to work with this deep psychological stuff when you don't even know how to handle the driver in front of you. You don't know how to handle the fact that it's hot out. You don't have to handle the fact that you dropped some ketchup on your skirt or your pants. You have to go back to work and it's embarrassing. You're sitting on a planet in the middle of nowhere. It's ketchup. There's a bunch of atoms. That's how you should look at it. There's nothing but atoms out there. How can they be bothering you? I keep in my den a periodic table. I never took chemistry, physics, or any real science. Okay? But I keep a periodic table, a big, beautiful periodic table in my study, sitting right there. Why? Because I'm going to bring it in here and ask you, those are the elements. Every single thing you interact with every single day are made of those elements. And the scientists believe that all the universe is made of those elements, not just here on Earth. We have not found new elements anywhere so far. I'm going to hold this up there to you and ask you, ready? Which one of these do you like and which don't you like? And you look at that and you say, I ain't got nothing to go with those elements. Really? Then why are you being so weird? If I take a bunch of them and put them together, you're freaked out. That's what it means, Gyana Yoga. That's what it means to use your intellectual mind to wake up. You hear me? Okay, so you start with the day in front of you and the moment in front of you, and you watch yourself store the sum of your learned experiences. You watch it happen. You watch the driver in front of you driving 10 miles an hour below the speed limit, and you're in a rush, and boy, are you talking about it, and boy, are you upset about it. You're not going to do anything about it. In 3 blocks, they turn, and you made a mess out of yourself. Can you handle the driver in front of you? Remember we say, I can't handle this? Can you learn to handle it? Can you learn to make believe you're driving on the planet Earth, scooting around in a little car, and there's somebody in front of you in a car on the planet Earth, and you're making a mess out of yourself? How about we don't do that? That's where you start. You start to learn how not to store this stuff inside of you, so that now, instead of going to work and telling everybody about the stupid driver and never driving, I'm driving on 34th again ever. It's a ridiculous road. People drive. All right? Instead, you sit there and say, that was fun. And I had fun working with myself, breathing, mantra, letting go. I told you, you ever hear of affirmation, positive thinking? Here's positive thinking. All right? Oh, God, get out of my way. Stop. Maybe that's my grandmother. She's in the last part of her life that she can still drive. It means so much to her. That's amazing. When she won't be able to drive, she can go to the grocery store, things she enjoys doing. I don't think I'll beep at her. I don't think I'll tailgate her to make her go faster. I think I'll say, it's okay, Grandma. You drive the way you want. I drive the way I want. That's positive thinking. That's affirmation. That's changing how you're processing what's coming in. That's spiritual. And say you get stuck in traffic. Well, you're stuck in traffic. You can drive yourself crazy if you want, or do your mantra. Breathe. Have fun. Have fun. If you learn to handle these little, I call them low-hanging fruit, if you learn to handle these little experiences that are happening, you're going to find out something a little bigger is going to happen. And somehow you're able to handle it because you learned how to handle things. If you can handle things, you will be healthy because you're not storing them inside of you. And you won't have as many preferences. Now I'm able to like 34th Street, not because somebody was driving a certain way and I'm freaked out. All right, I'm going to give you one more example. I got to stop. One more example. I'm driving down 34th or 39th and somebody runs a light. I ram on my brakes. I skid around. So thank God, no accident, nothing happened. Okay? I want to know next time you drive down that street and you're approaching that intersection, what happens inside of you. You stored it, didn't you? Nothing happened, but you stored it. And it may stay that way. You may never use that road. You may write to the commission, you better change that light and get right? Every other intersection is exactly the same. There's no reason that one's different except you had that experience. Let it go. Practice letting it go. How? My experience is what you do about it when you feel yourself resisting is relax. Relaxation and resistance are opposites. When you're relaxing, you can't resist. Relax your body, relax inside where you feel the tendency to push away, relax. If you relax, you gave it room to pass. And over time, you will learn to let things pass through. You can handle them. Doesn't mean you don't deal with them. After you've handled it and not made it a personal mess, you look to see, can I help? Is there something I can do? If you will do that, you will grow. It's beyond any other forms of meditation. Now you got down to the root of what the problem is. The problem is you stored all this garbage in there. Now you're not okay. So you need to make the world be the way you need it to be for you to be okay. What if you were okay? What if you woke up in the morning filled with joy, filled with inspiration, filled with love? You don't need anything. But then why would I get up? Because love loves to express itself. Because inspiration loves to create. Imagine doing that all the time. Not to get something, but to give. That's a giver. All right. Work on these things. Jagrif.